Hey guys, how's it going? It's Beginnings here. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week so far. Today's video, as you can see, is going to be on Thane. I did put two enchantments. The first enchantment set, I guess, is the enchantments that I've been using since I recorded this video. It is, in my opinion, a lot stronger than the set that normal people take, which is the second page. Another reminder, just for anyone who's new to my videos or might have forgotten, I generally just link the build that I'm using in the video, or rather I put the build that I'm using in the video, not like my overall build, because my builds generally tend to change because every build is situational. Like that's pretty obvious. If they have like Darcy, Illumia, I'm not going to be building double armor items or triple armor items, and if they have 2 ADCs, I'm not going to be building double magic assistance items, obviously. So to start this game off, we have Wukong in the jungle, Caphane top, and Violet mid. We have 2 ADCs and a Zuka and a Wukong. We are our only semblance of frontline. This Violet was trolling a little bit. She got mad, I think, that Caphane picked Caphane, or I'm not exactly sure what happened, but somehow we ended up with the Violet mid that was playing like an idiot, and you can see I do get very frustrated with them, especially after picking a second ADC and them like leashing at level 1 instead of clearing wave, and then just dumb things in general. This game is a little bit longer, but definitely worth the watch in my opinion. I absolutely carried this game. Thane's early game is fairly weak, at least against ranged heroes. He can get kited pretty easily, especially if you miss your dash, and he's just slow in general. But mid to late game, ooh boy, especially once you hit that 40% CDR, Thane is a monster at engaging, at saving, or peeling, everything. He can even secure kills with his ultimate. He does it all. He's the jack of all trades. We get a pretty good push here onto the Mina. She gets poked out a pretty decent amount there. I have to back off though, because Violet is forced to clear under tower, and that actually brings me to my next point. In my last video, I did say something about minions being worth less under tower, but I was informed by a few people in my comments that that is actually not true anymore, at least since the last patch, I believe. They made it so that minions are worth the same amount of gold under tower, but last hitting just gives you a little bit more gold than before. So shout out to the people who corrected me on that, and thank you for that information. It's definitely something to keep in mind. We see that Caphane rotates down after Violet goes back, and so we are going to be hanging around bot side at least a little bit, just because that's where our jungler is ending up in his clear. I did see Mina walk into this bush, so we are going to get quite a bit of poke damage onto her. Unfortunately, Darcy does end up coming in, and I do believe Violet does fall, which does suck. I get a pretty nice little knockback / knock up onto the Hayate and partially Saphira there, but unfortunately nothing comes of it. They're just a lot stronger than us right now. We have 2 ADCs, so we honestly shouldn't even really be fighting. I do end up getting a really good engage onto the Omen and Illumia there though, and we secure the kill and live with the sliver of HP before our enchantment comes in clutch and heals us for a bit of our missing HP. I was waiting for that Illumia ult to happen, which is why I was waiting to cast my A. Wukong does die, feels bad, but we live, and we actually end up securing a kill, which is great for us. We see that they are going towards our blue. Violet is dancing around in the bush, kind of afraid to auto attack the Mina, I guess. Don't really know what exactly is going on there. I guess she didn't realize that I saw her walk into the bush, so we're just gonna go ahead and kind of coax her out of it a little bit. Darcy's right there, so we do have to back off. Because we will die. I knew she was gonna not cleave, but I knew she was gonna throw her little hook into that bush, so obviously I just didn't walk into the bush. we make sure that there is enough pressure that our jungle isn't going to be invaded. Unfortunately, Kaphne was not watching the map, so she did not see when Darcy and Mina ended up going top. Really unfortunate for her. Guys, always watch the map. Like, it's really not that hard to just be constantly watching the map after a certain point of time. Like, when you play a lot, you should kind of know the map like the back of your hand. You should be able to secure it. I'm not secure, but to like walk through it without looking at your character. You can look at the map to help you, right? Like, the paths are on the map. I have to go in here to save my Violet because she does get hooked or hit by another Darcy ult, and then she throws her ult at the minion wave and hits exactly one minion and then dies to an Illumia stun. Illumia A. You can see I call them stupid. Don't flame. Do as I say, not as I do. We're just going to go ahead and make sure that this wave gets cleared with minimal risk to the Wukong and ourselves. I start to type back there, but then I decide against it. Bad idea. Don't engage in trolls and bad players. You'll play so much better if you don't even bother typing, guys. In fact, you should just mute everyone that you aren't playing with on your team. Like 9 times out of 10, it's just a better idea, right? So they have a lot of control over mid right now. Like I mentioned before, we have 2 ADCs, so we aren't exactly doing much in terms of pressure or damage or really anything at this point. We have to wait for our ADCs to come online. Thankfully, Mina does get caught out, so we do get a trade for that Zuka getting caught as well. Illumia does flicker, which makes our job easier. Nobody was going to defend top. But then I see that Kaphne is going, so I'm just going to be sitting for vision. I am like 80% sure that Wukong's next buff coming up is blue, so we're just going to go ahead and make sure that he can take that in peace. Hayate is poking his nose where it should not be, so again, just creating some space. I'm waiting around here to see if the Darcy goes in on his ultimate, but he does not. Instead, we manage to push Armina into a pretty awkward position. She has to blow her ult on just about nothing, and we end up getting a somewhat favorable trade, at least until we overcommit and Wukong does fall. Zuka thinks that he's going to be doing something here, but he's really just like 0 and 5 at this point, so he's not going to be doing literally anything. Like, you could see he did his full combo onto Darcy and he died, and Darcy laughed. He was tickled. I probably could have lived there, but I was trying to outplay the Omen. Taking Flicker on Thane is something that I started doing recently, actually. It's not something I have always done, so it is still definitely something I have to get used to. You can make some pretty sick plays though, as you will see later on in this video, and by later on I mean in like 5 minutes maybe. So you'll see it when it happens, don't worry. They have complete control over the map right now. We just have to make sure that we are rotating as a team, or as at least 4, to farm lanes, and making sure that we always have at least one lane that is not being pressured. That is a really big tip that I'll give to you guys. Like, especially, actually it doesn't even matter in literally any rank. Like, it doesn't matter if you have at least one lane being pushed out. It's going to be really hard for the enemy team to push into your base. You can see my team is chasing when they definitely should be. Unfortunately, Darcy misses his ult, and I get a really good counter engage here. I get a 3-man push into a knockup, and then another knockup, and I throw my ult out, and Mina does fall. Hayate is in a really bad position as well, and so he will die. We get 4 for 1, I believe. Yeah, Kaphne died. Doesn't matter, though. Nobody cares about Kaphne. Because the 4 of them died, we will be able to secure these towers. Omen gets super greedy and I guess decides that he's going to defend 1v4, and it obviously does not work out for him. Because Omen dies, we will be able to secure a high ground tower. We don't try to end here because, I don't know, I guess trying to end there would have been very risky. So it was safe. It was the safe play. I don't know if it was the smartest play, but it was definitely the safest play to not attempt to end the game there. I see the little thing above my head, the little eye, so I know that Mina uses her ring, which is pretty good to call out for our jungler because he does happen to go invisible. We also see here in a second that Darcy goes ahead and uses his ult on the wall. I guess he was just trying to secure the kill on the wall, guys. No big deal. So I call that out for my team as well. It's a pretty important cooldown to keep in mind. You can see Violet gets caught out and Zuka goes ahead and follows him to her death. That sucks. I don't know what else to say except nice in. That was great. There was no reason they should have been there. We had vision on them around mid, so why were they that far up in the first place? Because we have 2 down, they can probably do dark here. But I guess they don't because Hayate's dead. They could have done it perfectly fine with Illumia and Darcy. It's fine though. We traded 1 for 1, I think, so or 2 for 1, so it's fine. We know that they're going to go for the dark at that point because they all disappeared off the right side of the map. So I'm going to give my team vision on the left side. We see Hayate is doing this red buff, and we're just going to be annoying and make sure that we can prevent him from getting the red buff without killing ourselves. You watch Kafni in here, by the way. She literally walks into the Mina, guys. Why did she walk into Mina? That was like the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Kafni has decently long range in her cannon mode. So why did she walk into Mina? You can see I start typing about it, but I just hit the cancel button. There's no point in flaming, but you know, this video is actually just going to be titled Tips and Tricks on How to Not Flame. And the biggest one is flame, just don't hit send. Like, obviously don't say like super rude stuff, because if you accidentally hit send, then you can get into quite a bit of trouble, and you should probably just not be rude in general. But yeah, that's generally what I do, is I'll type something out and then I just hit cancel or hit the little X and I just don't hit send. I don't know, it's a tip, I guess. I've played MOBAs for a long time, so I get pretty salty sometimes. I know I am not the only one that does. We can see that the Omen is going for our small camp here, and we are going to take it out of his hands. Zuka is way too far up. I really wanted him to just back off, but I knew that he wasn't going to. So I'm just going to do my best to make sure that he won't be engaged on until he walks into the Mina. I see the Mina, so I start pathing down. Zuka apparently does not. So he walks into her, gets Omen ulted, gets Illumia ulted, and falls. Another free kill for the enemy team. But just wait, guys. I absolutely turn this entire game on its head right here. I see the Hayate, Darcy, and Illumia are on top of each other. I go in and get a really good knockup onto the Hayate. Wukong follows up with his full combo. Unfortunately, Darcy ults away from my ult. I dodge his little bomb blast. I get another 3-man push into a 2-man knockup, and Darcy does fall. Violet finishes off the Mina, and Illumia blows her little Arctic orb. I get another 2-man push, finishing with the Omen, and carry that fight like beyond. I went off that fight. You can see I type out a very loving and supportive message to my team, because I am a wonderful support that only says kind things. I did carry that fight though, guys. Let's be honest. I mean, that was insane. And that is just the first one. This game is probably the best Thane game the latter half of this game is probably the best Thane game I have ever had. I absolutely destroy these fights. So that was just the first one. It gets us back into the game. Like I mentioned a few times now, we have 2 ADCs. So our early game really isn't that good. I push the Mina away because I'm afraid that my team is going to be getting engaged on, and unfortunately Wukong does. I end up getting tagged by the Illumia stun trying to protect the Wukong, and I take one too many tower shots, and unfortunately I die. It's okay though. We pushed into their side of the map, so there's really not much that they can do off of my death. It does suck. I definitely should not have died, because that means that my team can now not take any fights at all, or really I guess, pressure them off of many objectives. They're too afraid to go for Darkslayer, I guess. Zuka, again, is way too overextended and will end up getting soloed by this Omen again. So now we're 2 down on the field. Oh, 3 down because Wukong died too. So all of the pressure and all of the advantages we just got with that amazing team fight are basically now lost. Sure, we got, like, I think a tower off of it, or maybe just some tower damage. I'm not really sure. But we will not be able to really get anything else here. I know that Omen isn't going to be able to kill me because I just saw that they had 3 mid. So I'm going to get a little bit of pressure off of this lane. I go ahead and dash at that Mina just in case she was going to try anything funny on my Kafni. I catch the wave before it reaches tower because I don't really want it to be hitting the tower. Cannons actually do quite a bit of tower damage. We lose the enraged abyssal dragon because our jungler and our side laner were dead, and I think we lost the Darkslayer too. We're definitely in another rough position here, guys. It really sucks, but don't worry, I have a feeling we'll make a comeback. It's just a hunch, all right? They go ahead and summon the Drake on bot side, which is kind of odd there, especially since they are not continuing to pressure the bot side. We're just gonna do our best to defend while the enemy team has both buffs up. We are going to have to make somewhat of a final stand on bot side since that is where the dragon is. They aren't pressuring top, like I mentioned this before. Remember, we have pressure in one map, which means that it's really hard for them to fully commit for the pressure on the other 2 lanes. I'm just looking anywhere for an engage right now. I see Darcy with his little thing. Zuka gets ulted, and I flicker in and get a 3-man knockup into another knockup and another ult. Darcy will fall here after I push him back into my team. Mina ults nothing because his team's already dead. The only carry alive is Hayate, and he falls as well. Unfortunately, the Kafni will die here. I thought she was walking down, but she ended up walking back up. And Omen will get that last little hit onto her. We finish off the Omen here and start messing with this Mina, who was, I guess, dueling the Zuka the entire time. That was an absolute insane engage. I told my team to get on my back because I am carrying them, boys. This game is hype. I don't think we actually end up getting anything objective-wise from that fight. Yeah, because Darkslayer isn't even up for 40 seconds. I don't think we get a single tower. We're just going to go ahead and clear the enemy jungle where we can and try to relieve some pressure in our lanes, specifically mid. I guess Zuka was just camping bot, and I see that Wukong is camping in this bush, so I'll go ahead and stay with him. He sees the next wave coming in, so he's just going to clear that, and I'm going to go ahead and try to recall here. This is what I call, like, the most nerve-wracking part of the game, because it's late game enough that basically whoever wins a team fight now is going to win the game. We only have our mid high ground tower. We only have high ground towers in all of our lanes, actually, but they don't have a high ground mid. So if we win, we just push down mid, and if they win, they can push whatever lane, right? We managed to secure the Darkslayer, and Mina definitely overextends here. I will manage to keep constantly knocking her back and knocking her up, and she will fall to my team. I end up, I think, missing my ult onto the Darcy, but it's fine because he gets hit by my knockback as well. We see that Omen is attempting to split push to base race us, but me and Zuka do make it back because our team does a great job at zoning to make sure that the two of us can make it back. All we're doing is preventing him from backing, clearing the wave, making sure he cannot end the game. And that's literally all we have to do, because I know my team with their 2 ADCs and the Wukong can push against the Illumia and Hayate, and yeah, just the Illumia and Hayate, because the other 2 are dead. And the game will end here in a minute. Such a good game, guys. It was so hyped to watch again and to commentate over. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video as much as I have enjoyed making it. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you like this type of content, and I will see you next time. See you.